Hey guys, and welcome back to Number 9 Farms. Today we're going to be making Pineapple Habanero Jam, and this is one of my big sellers, so I wanted to share with you how to do it and how I do it. And I've created all my own recipes. This book is loaded with recipes that I have wrote down and completely full. So what I want to give you is I use one bag of this. It's just one bag. And it's 5 pounds of pineapple. So of course pineapple doesn't grow here, but we do grow the habaneros that are in this. So this is considered a value-added product. So what you want to do is you want to take your pineapple, and since it's kind of harder, and I have thawed it out, you want to grind it up in your chop it up, whatever word you want to use, in your food processor. And once it's done, you go ahead and put it in your pot, and you want to go ahead and get your pectin and your lemon juice in, and I'll show you how I do all that in a minute. But first I get my lids ready. I always get my trays ready. What I call my trays is just a plate, and I go ahead and get my bubble wand, my scooper, and my funnel ready, and then that way when it's time to do the jars, it's all set to go. And first things first, we're going to use one bag of frozen 5 pound, I'm not frozen, it was frozen. Okay, 5 pound bag of pineapple, 6 habaneros, because my people like it hot. And if you don't like 6 habaneros, you do whatever. But I do take the seeds out, I chop them up real fine, and I use 12 tablespoons of pectin. Now my pectin is a powdered pectin, but if you need to go ahead and use Certo or one of those brands, just get you 2 bags and use it. Because the pineapple doesn't have so much of the pectin in it. It's got a lot of acid, and it doesn't seem to do as well, so you always, my gosh, could you stop? Alright, and then 1 cup of apple cider vinegar. That's very important, because since you're adding peppers, you're always going to be wanting to add acid in, because peppers don't have any acid. And 11 cups of sugar. And 4 tablespoons of lemon juice. The lemon juice also helps to just give it a nice taste. And sometimes, but not on this batch, it's not a very foamy batch like strawberries. The strawberries, I would add butter to it. Just a little tiny pat of butter, and that helps to keep down some of the foam. But with the pineapple, it doesn't foam as much. And so now I want to show you that I've got the lids ready. And the lids are over here ready. I got the water bath canner all warmed up, and as soon as that's ready. This is a large, what they call the Amish water bath canner, and I got that from Layman's. And I use a gas stove because, of course, my copper pot is large, and it does take some heat to get it really hot. And you do want to carry this. If you do not want to use pectin, carry it to 220 degrees. And if you do use the pectin, you can carry it to 210 degrees, and I do use a thermometer, because nobody wants a runny jam. So guys, I just wanted to tell you that you're going to want to use your juice too when you put it in your food processor. And if you don't have a food processor, probably the best thing to do would be if you have a Ninja, or even buy maybe crushed pineapple cans. Anything that I used to only use fresh pineapples, and the fresh. What?
We make way too much of it.
Yeah, I know. But then it got to be, well, the pineapples, it was cheaper to buy the bag than it was to buy the fresh pineapples. Now sometimes I do see them on sale, but a lot of the times where we would go to get them, they would be more expensive than I bought the bag. And the reason you hear that fan in the background is that's for the gas stove, since it is on heating up the water. Alright guys. Okay guys, so I've got everything in there, and I do double this recipe. because I need to make more than the average person.
Yes.
And habaneros are in there, apple cider vinegar, pectin, and the lemon juice, and the crushed up pineapple. And I did mention in the video that if you did want to use canned pineapple, that would be fine. Just make sure you do the, it would be 8 cups of little pesky thing. 8 cups of pineapple, crushed pineapple. So you would probably need, I don't know, what, maybe 4 cans. Alright, well, we're going to carry this over to the stove, and I'm going to do a time lapse on it, and I'm going to have, I've got my crusher, so the whole time I'm crushing up the habaneros that are already chopped, but I'm just mixing it in really good, and I use a wooden spoon, and we'll be on time lapse. Alright. Okay guys, so we're over here at the stove, and I do turn it on high, and I just constantly am stirring. So the whole time that evaporation is occurring, that helps to get rid of some of the liquid. So that way you're stirring. And I do have my little thermometer, which is an NSF, which is what I hold in there. And I know it's small, but I have not been able to find a long one that actually is a decent temperature. Even all the ones I've tried, they don't exactly come to the exact temperature. And yes, I know about a candy thermometer and everything, but it's not, it doesn't work, it's accurate for me for this part. So I do only want to use that thermometer, and yes, I do get burnt, and you never want to have flip-flops on. Because I have had it pop over on me. So that's a little tip, and here we go. Okay guys, so now I'm almost at temperature, so I wanted to stop it because this is where the sugar is going to go in. Once it gets, I bring it to at least 200 degrees right now, and I'll hold it. I'll even have it just a timer, so I'll say Alexa set a timer for 1 minute. And so once it gets to over the 200 degrees, you want to go ahead and make sure you set that timer and let it roll for 1 whole minute. Solid. And sometimes on the bigger batches, which this is not exactly the bigger batch, because the bigger batches actually go almost to the very top, and when I set that one for 2 minutes. So once it goes all the way to the time, I go ahead and put the sugar in, and so next I'll be putting the sugar in once I get to the temperature. But I wanted to stop and show you that because we are definitely, and with peppers, I want you to know that sometimes you might want to start off small, because all of them are different. No matter what, I can have a 1 year they're not so hot, and then the next year they're nuclear, and I mean very, very hot. So you want to go ahead and start off small, because you can't take it out, but you can put more in. And this is the stage where you would want to do that. So if this is where you want to stop it, put it on a cold, like a frozen saucer, and go ahead and sample it. And if you think you want to add more peppers, then go for it, because that's a good thing. Okay guys, so the sugar is now in, and you want to go ahead now and get it mixed in really good. And I did hold it for the once it got over 200 degrees, right at 200, whatever, right in, you hold it for there for at least a minute, and then add your sugar in. Now for Certo, if you do use Certo, that's the opposite. So you do the sugar first, and then you come back and add the Certo, and you've got to make sure that time goes. I just use the powdered because the powder is what I buy in bulk, and I know exactly that it's 6 tablespoons to make 1 box of Sure Gel. So that's how I determine how much pectin goes in my recipes. So you can see now it's looking absolutely yummy. Got a few pineapples that I didn't get really chopped up good, but that's okay. A lot of people buy this one for adding to their chicken. I've got customers that say they put it in their crock pot. They'll put 2 jars in their crock pot, and a lot of them put it on cheese and crackers. I've had them say they put it on different fish.
Salmon.
Yeah, salmon. I've even had them say they put it on pork. So it's pretty much a functional. I would even say even a hamburger. Just like, you know, different places we've gone and they've added a Hawaiian burger. So it would definitely give it a kick. Oh yeah, I know it has a kick. So that's really all. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep on stirring. I'm going to go to 210 degrees because since I add the pectin, you don't need to go to 220. Once it's at the 210, Bruce. Once it's at the 210, I'm going to hold the 210 for 2 minutes, and you know, set a timer because the 2 minutes is very critical. And then what I do after it goes to that, I turn off the stove, and then I go to let it sit for 5 minutes, and I do a 5-minute timer, and that seems to help. One, to let it just keep evaporating some more, and that if there is any foam, it kind of like settles, and a lot of time it goes away, and then all you have to do is take your little skimmer, which I'll show you that too, and I just bought that right from Amazon, and you can skim right off the top of your jam if there is any foam. Most of the time this one doesn't have a lot, but who knows.
Burns off.
It burns off from the habaneros. Alright, so now it's been at that temperature, and I've started the timer, and as you can see, it's definitely rolling, and that's what you want. It's a rolling boil where you can't stir down. So no matter how hard I try, it doesn't stir down. And this is, you can see all the evaporation taking place, and you can even look at it from your pot, so as to where you started, as to where you're going, should I say. And that way it gives you an indication on how much it's went down. And this right here, this little bit of foam, this is nothing compared to like strawberries and what's another one that foams a lot too? Peach. Yeah. I had to, and watch your arm. Alright, so what you can do, I got a frozen plate. And always don't put it over your jam, because if it was to crack or something, you don't want it going in your jam. So I always bring it away from the jam and do a test, and if it goes through, and it does not, so it needs a little bit more time, but the timer hasn't even went off yet. But, and then you see it as it's setting, you can see there, that's how it'll get like a little film on it. I guess I need to get to the camera. Alexa, end timer. Alright. And I'll let this sit for a minute, and I'll go ahead and turn this off, and I'll set the timer again for 5 minutes. and then we'll see where we are from there. Alright, so now we've got this all done, and I wanted to show you that was the plate, and I hope you can see that. It's all nice and yummy looking and good, and Bruce wants me to try it, but the heat anymore, it's not my favorite thing, but I love hot foods. They just don't love me, if that makes any sense. And so now I just go ahead and fill my jars up with all of the goodness. And as you notice, there was no foam left on the top of the jam, but I did want to show you the skimmer that I do use if for strawberries, peaches, and anything that is foamy. And what I usually do for that is I put it in a jar for my boys, because I make so many jams and they sell out so fast that I can't even hardly make anything for my own family for when it comes to jams. So I'll get these all filled up, and then I'll bring you back and show you how I do the lids. Okay guys, so what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to be putting the lids on my jars, and I've got this water just got done. You don't have to boil it, it's like 180 degrees, and that way, and I know the new rules, they don't say you have to do this, but you know what, some things I just won't change. So the windows are open, that's why you hear the roosters. And all my jars were sterilized first, and I then put them in the oven because, one, it takes a while for me to get back to this part, and with the I don't like a wet jar either, but when you cannon, you always want your jars to be hot for the jams, because of course the jam is hot. And you only, for this jam, I usually go between 1/4 and 1/2 inch of headspace, if you want to know that. Basically anything else I can tell you, because now I'm going to go ahead and put all the lids on these, and then I am all done with that. Alright guys, guess what? I'm going to taste this, and I'm going to tell you right now, the heat, and especially when you go to wash your dishes, it just, whew, that vapor gets in your face and it burns and it makes you cough sometimes from all the peppers. But here it goes. Oh my gosh, it's delicious. Woo! It gets me every time. Alright, okay, they're in the water bath canner now. Going to go, once it gets them to a boil, 10 minutes, and then time it, 5 more minutes, time it, and you take them out and you separate them a little bit so they have enough air circulation, and we will come back when they're all set. Alright. Okay guys, so I'm done. This is it. It's the next day, and this has been in the refrigerator. I made 34 jars of 1/2 pints, and look at it. It's already been eaten some already. Ate something, should I say. Oh my gosh. It's so good. It's when it's chilled, it's even better. And boy, does it get that kick. Alright guys, well I hope you enjoyed this, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I can pretty much make any kind of jam you want to do. If you have any ideas, give me a shout. All right, thanks guys.